Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Media Morsels. I'm your hostess, Brooke, and today I'm going to be discussing my favorite albums that were released in 2023. I know I'm a little late. Most people typically do this in January, and in all honesty, I had more favorite albums in 2022, but 2023 was more recent, and I still love the albums I'm going to discuss. Also, a disclaimer, I apologize if I missed an album on this list. If you had a favorite in 2023 and I didn't discuss it, I apologize. It might be because I just never got around to listening to it, I only liked one or two of the songs, or I just didn't know about it, or maybe in general, I just didn't really like it. Also, these are not ranked in any certain order. It's just going to be based around the time the album was released and my current 3 favorite songs from it. Let's kick things off with The Record by boygenius, a mesmerizing collaboration between Phoebe Bridgers, Lucy Dacus, and Julian Baker, all 3 artists who have amazing solo work that I love. And when I found out that they had a band together back in 2022, when I first discovered boygenius with their first EP, I fell in love with it. This album is a tapestry of haunting melodies and introspective lyrics, each track a haunting exploration of love, loss, and the human condition. So my favorite 3 songs on here currently are $20, We're in Love, and Letter to an Old Poet. I think each of these songs have different vibes from each other. You can compare $20 to We're in Love. We're in Love is a soft, more sad sounding song, while $20 has screaming and anger and sadness. And Letter to an Old Poet is also softer, but it's more sad when in comparison to We're in Love. And I think each member's vocals hit a different emotional chord within you.
I haven't done a cartwheel since I was 9.
Next on our list is Lana Del Rey's Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? This ethereal masterpiece takes listeners on a nostalgic journey through Lana's signature dream pop soundscapes. With its lush production and introspective storytelling, this album is a cinematic experience like no other. Personally, I hadn't been enjoying Lana's 2 most recent albums. After NFR, I just felt like her albums were just pretty different from her past work, and I've just been a big fan of her past work, and I apologize for that. But when this album came out, I was very excited because it had a feel of her older music, and her collabs were really good in this album, and it just felt very Lana Del Rey, and I enjoyed this album and the aesthetic of it overall. And my favorite 3 tracks off this album are Candy Necklace, A&W, and Fishtail. I think A&W was one of the first singles released for this album, and it made me so excited because this album showcases how versatile Lana is, with a soft melody at the beginning of the song to a more pop, trap, sultry part at the end of the song. And it's just overall such a good album, and I'm glad that Lana is back with this kind of stuff, even though I think her next album is going to be country, but we'll see how that turns out. Moving on, we have Rituals on the Bank of a Familiar River by Kiki Rockwell, an album that defies categorization with its eclectic blend of genres, from hypnotic beats to soul-stirring ballads. Each track on this album is a sonic adventure that transports listeners to uncharted territories of the mind. Now, I first discovered Kiki Rockwell from their song Cup Runneth Over, and I was just entranced by her haunting vocals, the theme of her songs, and the music videos that they make. I love the aesthetic of it all, the medieval and Renaissance era, Salem witch trial-esque themes, and I also did enjoy how in that music video it dealt with sapphic themes, and it's so nice to encounter other sapphic artists in the music industry. My favorite songs off this album are Burn Your Village, Harbinger, and Cup Runneth Over. Burn Your Village, I highly recommend this song. I was obsessed with this song last year. It made it into my Spotify Wrapped top 5 songs. I think it was number 3. It's just that good. Paramore makes a triumphant return with This Is Why, an electrifying album that sees the band embracing a newfound sense of maturity and self-assurance. Hayley Williams' powerhouse vocals soar over hooks with infectious melodies, delivering a message of empowerment and resilience. They also have a remake of this album called This Is Why, and it's where different artists cover the songs on this album, and I love Julian Baker's version of the song Thick Skull. I've been a Paramore stan since I was very young in the early 2000s when Misery Business was playing on the radio all the time, and I've been catching up with all their albums and listening to them as they released, basically, more so recently. This Is Why plays more into their older stuff with their pop punk songs, and it was just such a fun album overall. And my 3 favorite songs off this album are The News, Running Out of Time, and Thick Skull. Prepare to be enchanted by Hozier's Unreal Unearthed, an album that explores the depths of the human soul with its soul-stirring melodies and thought-provoking lyrics. Each track on this album is a testament to Hozier's storytelling prowess. I love Hozier. Ever since Take Me to Church was released in 2014 and randomly started playing on the radios, I've been obsessed with him. I heard Take Me to Church on the radio in, I think, 6th or 7th grade, and I just got possessed by it. For some reason, I decided to look up all the lyrics. I watched the music video all the time, and that song just meant so much to me, and ever since then, I've been catching up with all of Hozier's most recent releases. His last album before this was so good. His first album, I think, is one of my favorite albums ever, actually, and this album, also so good. I'm also going to his show in April, so I am so excited for that, and it's the tour for this album. And my favorite songs right now are First Light, DeSelby Part 2, and Francesca. Such good songs. I highly recommend this album, or basically any song by Hozier, especially if you like Take Me to Church. Next, Laufey mesmerizes with Bewitched, a spellbinding album that seamlessly blends elements of jazz, pop, and folk to create a sound that is uniquely her own. With her ethereal vocals and intricate arrangements, Laufey invites listeners to a world of magic and wonder that captivates from start to finish. Now, I first discovered Laufey back in 2021, I think, or 2022, whenever Valentine was released. I have the exclusive record store day Valentine vinyl, the heart-shaped one, and not too many people knew about Laufey before her album came out. But Bewitched is a very cute album, and you don't get a lot of modern jazz, and I think she's just perfect, and her voice is amazing, the instrumentals are amazing, and she just got a Grammy, and it was well-deserved. So my favorite 3 songs off this album are Lovesick, Haunted, and Bewitched. Now moving on to, I think, my favorite album of 2023, and if you know me, it's no surprise. Mitski takes us on an emotional roller coaster with The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We, an album that explores themes of identity, love, and loss with raw honesty and vulnerability. Mitski bears her soul in every note, leaving listeners spellbound in her wake. I have been in love with Mitski's discography since early 2019, my senior year of high school, or the end of my junior year of high school. And the first song I ever heard from her was Nobody from her album Be the Cowboy, and I don't think Mitski has ever released a bad song. There's some songs of hers that just aren't my favorite, but none of them are bad. I have a Mitski playlist with all my favorite Mitski songs, and I was looking through it and I realized it's every Mitski song. And some people didn't like her last album, but I really liked it. But this album, I honestly think, is one of her best works. One of the most popular songs off that album is My Love, Mine All Mine, which is actually trending on TikTok and Instagram Reels right now. And when I first heard that song, I also loved it too. I don't listen to it as much anymore because I think it's overplayed now. But the lyrics on this album, the instrumentals, the vocals, just everything about it is perfect. And I think this is honestly the best album to come out of 2023. And I am also going to be going to her tour in September, I believe, and Ethel Cain is opening for her, and I am so excited for that. But my 3 favorite songs off this album are I'm Your Man, Star, and The Deal. Now we're going to move on to something kind of different and I guess kind of scary. I don't think this album is for everyone, but I personally like albums that are kind of haunting and weird you out. But Reverend Christian Michael Hayter delivers a powerful message of hope and resilience with Saved. This genre-defying album combines elements of metal, folk, and electronica to create a sonic landscape that is both cathartic and uplifting. With its haunting melodies and moving lyrics, Saved is a testament to the transformative power of music. Now, this album also contains some hymns, and it deals with themes of religion, especially Christianity and Catholicism, and I think her take on all of this is insanely good and so haunting that her music just kind of freaks you out a little bit, and I think that's the intention of it. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable in ways. She also went by the alias Lingua Ignota before this album, and I loved all her work under that name. And this album is also so good. It still has Lingua Ignota vibes, but if you want something that's creepy and gets under your skin and is just so well done, I definitely recommend this album. And my 3 favorite songs off this album are I Will Be With You Always, All of My Friends Are Going to Hell, and I Know His Blood Can Make Me Whole. Last but certainly not least, we have Poppy's Zig, an electrifying album that pushes the boundaries of pop music to new heights. From the infectious energy of Motorbike to the haunting beauty of Church Outfit, Poppy's eclectic sound and daring experimentation make Zig a must-listen to for music lovers everywhere. Now, personally, Poppy's last album that came out in 2021, I believe, 2021, was Flux, and I was not the biggest fan of it. I like her more metal sounding songs, like I Disagree, that whole album. I love that album. And Zig did have some songs like that, like Church Outfit and Hard. Those definitely were more screamo and metal. But I did like the pop songs off this album too, like Motorbike. And speaking of those 3 songs, my 3 favorite songs from this album were Church Outfit, Motorbike, and Hard. I just think Poppy is such a good singer and she can make any genre of music work. Her screaming voice is so good, and even just her singing voice. She's just so good at what she does. And it's so interesting to watch her transformation from when she was the poppy YouTuber and had the more lighthearted and fun sounding pop songs to now having more scary metal songs and even fun pop songs still. And just because I loved 2022's releases so much, I will be doing some rapid fire recommendations with my favorite albums and my top 3 favorite songs. At that time, whenever I made the list, which was the end of 2022. So if you enjoyed my recommendations from earlier, you might enjoy some of these. Laurel Hell by Mitski. My top favorite songs were Valentine, Texas, Shut Up and Me, and I Guess. Then Dance Fever by Florence and the Machine with Cassandra, Daffodil, and Dreamgirl Evil. Preacher's Daughter by Ethel Cain, which I liked Ptolemaea, A House in Nebraska, and Family Tree. Honestly, I think I might replace Family Tree with Thoroughfare now. My favorites change all the time on that album. I could talk forever about Preacher's Daughter, but that's for another time. Then Bronco by Orville Peck, my favorite country artist possibly, and my 3 favorite songs on there are Any Turn, Bronco, and Daytona Sand. Then Capri Songs by FKA Twigs, and I liked Ride the Dragon, Honda, and Puppy Bones. Then Supernova by Nova Twins, a highly underrated rock duo with Antagonist, KMB, and Choose Your Fighter. Then I love Ants from Up There by Black Country New Road, and my 3 favorite songs are The Place Where He Inserted the Blade, Concord, and Haldern. Then Traumazine by Megan Thee Stallion, and my three favorites were Budget, Gift and a Curse, and Scary. Then Everything I Know About Love by Leve. This was an EP, I believe, not an album, but I loved Falling Behind, Valentine, and Fragile. Then Magic Hour by Surf Curse, and the three favorites were TVI, Fear City, and Randall Flagg. Then The Shark in Your Water by Flowerface, another highly underrated artist. I loved Spherical, Maybe, and Bad Astrology. The next album is Love Me Forever by Pink Shift, a female-led punk rock band, metal band. I love Pink Shift. I highly recommend them. And my three favorite songs are Nothing in My Head, Get Out, and Burn the Witch. Then The Loneliest Time by Kylie Rae Jepsen. I loved Talking to Yourself, Beach House, and Western Wind. Then next is SOS by SZA, and my favorites were Kill Bill, Ghost in the Machine, and Low. And then Decide by Joe, and I loved Gloom, End of Beginning, and Figure You Out. And then my last favorite album from 2022 was Guard Dog by C Rose, and the three songs were Crybaby, Used to Be Friends, and Keep the Rain. Now, I also want to mention I am a Taylor Swift fan, and you might have noticed that I did not mention a single Taylor Swift album in both of these years. First and foremost, I'm not the biggest Midnights fan, and I hate to say it, I am more of a Folklore Evermore type of girl, and I just didn't want to count the re-releases of her albums because they were already albums that had been out. I very much enjoyed her re-recording of Red, but I think that was 2021. Maybe it was 2022. I can't remember, but that was a re-recording, so I didn't count it. And then her re-recordings of Speak Now in 1989, I wasn't the biggest fan of, but still, they're not new albums, and I know there are some new songs that were from the vault, but I just did not include those. And I do like some songs off of Midnights, but I wouldn't call it my favorite album. Like, I love Lavender Haze and Snow on the Beach, but the other songs, like, maybe I'll listen to them, but they're not my favorites. Like, Maroon is a good song, but it's not one I'm, like, actively wanting to listen to, and I think Lavender Haze and Snow on the Beach are, like, the two only ones that I do. But other than that, it's not a bad album, but not one of my favorites. I also wanted to include albums I need to listen to or some honorable mentions because for some reason I find albums I really like and then I just listen to them over and over again, and it's hard for me to listen to new albums just because I get so obsessed with certain ones, and maybe that's why my list this year wasn't super long. Or if I'm not super attached to the artist, it takes me a while to listen to the album, even though I love some of the artists I'm about to list. Like, we'll start off with Red Moon and Venus by Kali Uchis. I love Kali Uchis. I just have not gotten around to this album for some reason. I've been listening to her since I discovered her when Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator was released back in 2017, forever ago, and she was supposed to open for my Lana Del Rey concert back in 2018, but she did not show up. But I need to listen to this album so bad. Then the next album is Hood Hottest Princess by Sexy Red. I think Sexy Red is kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I love Looking for the Hose, and I know her two other popular songs that were all over social media, Ski Yee and Pound Town. And since I love all these songs, I don't know why I haven't listened to the album. I honestly didn't even think this was an album. I kind of thought it was just singles she had released. So I need to listen to the rest of that album. And then one by an artist that's not super big is Dog's Body by model/actress. Hopefully I said that name right. And I only know the song Donkey Show from that album that just released, but I really like their song Damocles. I hope I said that name right too. But this is such an interesting experimental band, and their songs are so good, so I don't know why I have not listened to the album. The next artist is an artist that I've had many of my friends talk about and I've seen all over Twitter, but I've never listened to them. And the album is called Praise the Lord Who Chews But Which Does Not Consume, or simply Hot Between World. And that's by Eve Toomer. And I've been meaning to listen to them for so long, possibly like the past 2 years, but I've never gotten around to it for some reason. And I've been recommended them so many times, so maybe I'll finally get around to listening to that album. Then 10,000 Gex by 100 Gex. I actually saw 100 Gex in concert when I saw Brockhampton in 2019. I don't listen to Brockhampton anymore. This was 2019. Please acknowledge that time period. But 100 Gex opened for them. I didn't know who they were at the time. And then a year later, I started listening to Money Machine. And then I also liked their song Hey Big Man. But I feel like I need to listen to 10,000 Gex because I like their music, even their solo stuff like Haunted. Then the next album is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. I actually have listened to this album. When it first released, I listened to it all the way through and I didn't really like it, honestly. Besides Bad Idea, right? I liked that when it was released as a single. But I feel like I need to listen to the album again because I've heard songs again on TikTok. I'm like, wait, maybe I do like that song, like All American. Maybe I just need to get around to it again to really absorb the album rather than listening to it when it dropped at midnight and I wasn't in full consciousness. Then the next album is Javelin by Sufjan Stevens. I've heard this album is so sad and I'm pretty sure it's about his boyfriend who passed, which makes me so sad. And I love sad albums and I love Sufjan Stevens. His songs make me cry. Of course, one of his most popular ones is 4th of July, and that song I've loved since high school, and it's so sad. And I don't know why I haven't gotten to this album either. Then number 8 is Desire I Want to Turn Into by Caroline Polachek. I've had so many friends recommend Caroline Polachek to me, and I've just not gotten around to listening to her music. And I feel like it's kind of a dishonor as a gay person to not know any of her music because it's all my like other gay friends that are telling me to listen to it. Like, you have to listen to her. But I haven't gotten to it, and I've heard that her newest album is really good, so maybe I will finally get to it. And last but not least is actually Heaven Knows by Pink Pantheress. I honestly forgot that this album dropped, and I love Pink Pantheress. I don't know why I haven't listened to this album, but I just haven't gotten around to it, sadly. And honestly, I think if I listened to these albums, they'd probably make it onto the list, but I've been slacking, honestly. And there you have it, my personal list of the top albums of 2023. I hope you enjoyed this musical journey and discovered some new favorites along the way. Stay tuned for more rambling regarding the world of media on the next episode of Media Morsels. Until then, keep exploring, keep indulging, and keep enjoying the magic of music.